We are live.
Hello. Welcome.
Hope everyone's well. Hope everyone's had a good Monday. Hope
Two lives in a row here.
Had a good weekend. Yeah, 2 lives in a row. That's been a rare thing in recent weeks.
We always say we want to do it more often, and this time we're keeping up with our promise.
Nice to be live. Nice to be back.
As usual, let us know if everything looks and sounds good. Hopefully, there are no issues. We've got some guests, as always. Good. Whisker, Austin, the usual suspects. Good,
Crew.
good. All right. Any quick news for the folks before we dive into some questions?
Start with Tiger, eh?
I know. Yes, I've got my appropriate outfit on.
Start with T-Dubs.
Fun to watch.
Yeah, a lot of fun to watch. Obviously, I think at one point with the amount of rain they got on the Friday, I don't know if the general consensus was that they were going to get the whole round in. The weather ended up being decent for the rest of the week, and the course was remarkable.
Did you see some of the footage of, I don't know,
Poulter? Was it Poulter that you saw?
So his from the golf course was ridiculous, but then the city or the town nearby, there's like just a street with shops. There's like 5 feet of water in the road.
It was incredible, and then to see how well the course was presented that last couple of days was incredible.
Like the iron shots that Tiger was hitting, obviously, they hit and stuck, but it's not like they were, going a foot underground and mud balls were coming back. The course drained.
It was good to see him. And Tiger, in his sort of vintage form, was controlling the spin rate so well. I saw there was a wedge shot at one point Hideki hit, and he hit a kind of little wedge on and probably landed about 15 feet short and just ripped back, and you just don't see Tiger do that stuff.
That's a very good point. I think that was 16 or something.
Yeah,
like that. 16 or 17.
He really needed to press, and he had wedge in his hands, and he had a real green light to go at the stick, but you have to hit it the full number, maybe a couple more just to.
And have it stop.
And Tiger was he just had full control of that.
It's a very good point. You don't see him hit like the 40-foot zip back shot, unless there's some kind of ridge that he thinks it makes sense to do.
Yep.
Was good. All right, let's. Questions this week. So last week, not that it's a negative. Obviously, we have tons of people tuning in, which is great. The comment chat got a little insane with repeated questions.
Yeah.
So please, we will do our very best to get to your question, but if we don't get it, we just ask you don't repeat it too many times, because then we just lose all kind of track of what's going on.
Yeah, it doesn't kind of almost help us sort of try and take the questions if we just flood we want you guys to be interactive. We want you guys to discuss things with one another. Obviously, leave your questions. We'll do what we can. Really, honestly, if you put it in 100 times, we're not more likely to get to it.
I'd argue we're slightly less likely.
Yes, exactly. So
there is a feature where you can make it so that you can only post a question every few minutes. I don't want to do that though, because it would be not as fun. All right, let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's see where we are at.
Let's take this from Matthew to start.
Go for
Matthew's asking about the new P790 Ti, the Epic Forge, Titleist Concept. Basically, that these are insanely expensive.
I was going to say.
To be fair, they are ridiculous. Now, that being said, a lot of channels I think are using that as just almost like subject matter. Like the subject matter is, here's a set of irons, I'll test them, but man, these are just stupid expensive. No one should ever buy these. Do you think that there's, these companies don't just make those, so I think that's the first point. It's not like Callaway only makes that iron. So it's for a limited amount of people. But it's almost like Callaway's getting bashed for Callaway has no business making these irons for $3,000. Do you see that? I know they're a low percentage of your fits, but that Epic Forge, there is a market for it. It's just not very big.
Yeah, it's not large. I think there's probably a part of the price attached is probably because it's not for a large amount of the market, right?
That's the thing. It's
so you're going for, they're going to put in quality. They're going to put the price on that quality because they know they're not going to sell high volume. So the amount of money that they need to, get back. I mean, all these, it's a business. It's ultimately a business. You need to, when you make your sales projections, you need to sort of have an idea how many units you're going to sell. There's molds. There's different, obviously, R&D teams that have to develop these products, and they're not going to lose money on these things.
No, it's a good point. I think golf it's a big market. People take if you think about like a Bugatti, for example. You
Sure.
know they lose money on a Bugatti, but it costs $2 million.
Yeah.
A car company, a conglomerate of like 5 car brands, can afford to do that. Golf is, it's a popular sport, but like Callaway can't afford to lose money on Epic Forged irons. They're just not going to make them. But
true story.
we probably won't do a ton of, that being said, we probably won't do a ton of testing on stuff like that because it's just so limited. I think it's fun to do. Like we did the Epic Forged video, was fun. But generally we'll do stuff that's reasonably affordable, I would say.
It's interesting. I mean, if we weren't talking about price, in that first day that we hit the P790 and the P790 tie,
Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
I would have definitely told you I preferred the tie.
Yeah, you did. I know
No
you did.
question. I preferred the feel. I preferred the sound. Price aside, off to one side, it's interesting.
Absolutely. Lots of Tiger chatter. Understandable.
Yep.
This is a really quick, easy one. MP18 versus MP20. Let's say I own MP18s, especially the blades or something like that. Did you see enough between the two for it to be an upgrade situation, or would it be more of a novelty for someone to go, if they have MP18s? If you hit 100 shots with an MP18 6-iron and 100 shots with an MP20, both blades, I'm pretty sure the numbers would be within a quarter of a yard.
Yeah, I think a company like Mizuno, you'll probably find very subtle enhancements time to time. I don't think they're going to stumble across a technology that revolutionizes the development of their products. Now, chromoly obviously is being able to forge the chromoly material was huge for them. Being able to make the HMB, probably like Hot Metal Pro, HMB, things like that are where they're taking material development and kind of really working on that. But the blade is the blade, and we talked with Chris so much about the lineage of going back into some really classic shapes of the past, and they wanted to pay homage to those. The layers, obviously, with the copper layer, and that was something they had done in the past, and really provided enhanced feel.
I thought that was cool, for sure.
Somebody was telling me recently that you can now buy the copper.
Stop it.
You can now buy the copper version. I can't remember. I haven't heard that, but yeah.
I think they'd sell a few of those.
Well, absolutely.
Because that's like, people like a rusty club for that kind of color, but it would be nice if something was actually finished.
Definitely. Well, now, Whisker has a bunch of questions I saw in there about TXG.
Well, let's get at least one.
Yeah, let's sneak in there. Go back up.
Older or newer?
Keep going.
There we are.
There we go. Tell us how the TXG experience is evolving or changing now that you've been in the business for 3 years now, based on what you've learned or what clients are thirsty for. That would be giving away some of our big secrets for 2020. I don't know if we're ready to do that.
Ooh, okay.
We're almost ready to do that.
Yes.
We've been talking about some different experiences, and
that's a good point.
Obviously trying to enhance the experience for the visitor, because we are getting so many international visitors now. So we have plans in motion for that, and I think that they will be very unique.
Absolutely. If you were to pick one thing in the fitting bay that's changed since I met you the most, what is one thing you do more of or more focused on than you used to be since you opened the doors? When was that? March 2017?
I would say conscious of the influence of the golf ball.
I thought you might say that,
Yeah. I mean, it's born from what you and I have done.
It's true. I guess it's that extra time on that stuff, yeah.
We see so many unique things from the golf ball that we can initiate the launch conditions we need much more easily. You can sometimes used to be able to get close, but never kind of take it the whole way.
True.
Now you can get it absolutely the whole way.
And plus, I think you can give someone more options than, if you take the full golf community as a whole, and there's obviously people that won't be able to afford a new set of clubs, they'll only be able to afford certain clubs, certain shafts. I think that if you give them the knowledge of what golf ball to play, you actually take the number of people that could optimize their flight. I think you make it way bigger by knowing what the ball does.
Definitely, and I think last night, so obviously we're all watching Tiger last night. We're waiting for the final 7 holes, and I done a little Q&A on Instagram.
Yeah, that's right.
And this is such a recurrent thing that I get asked the question, you know, I'm trying to lower the spin rate, I'm trying to lower my flight, which shaft is going to do that?
Especially with irons, you get that question.
It's incredible. I mean, you know, hopefully guys, you know, and please ask more questions on why this is the case, but shafts are not the answer to flighting the ball really higher or lower. Yeah. It just isn't. I mean, because for no two players are you going to get the same result. You might get a shaft that's soft, that is in trail deflection or is actually, it has been in deflection, trail, then in lead, then on its way back to trail. And that's going to have a significant influence on dynamic loft, on droop, on the rotation of the club head, the energy produced. So, you know, in terms of kick speed, so in terms of the amount of speed that the shaft is accelerating at, is going to influence the ability to create energy towards the golf ball. That is not a uniform thing. It's not a black and white, stiffer does this, softer does that.
Sure.
It is a very dynamic thing that you're trying to measure. So, you know, let's help educate, you know, others that shafts do not do that.
No.
They're energy production devices, they're timing devices, and you know, let's banish that thought for good that shafts are you know, changing spin rates by 1,000 RPMs here. Golf balls will. Yeah. Loft will.
It's very true.
You know.
And the good news for everyone is that's a lot cheaper pursuit. Getting fit properly for your lofts and golf ball.
Austin's asking, where's the coffee? Well, we don't drink coffee. We drink tea.
Usually a tea in the evening.
Normally I eat tea, but we don't have one
Coffee
tonight.
In the morning, right? For me, but
we were a little bit later getting going today, so we just get finished with our boy Larry Chung.
That's right, Larry was in.
Yeah, we have a new series coming this week. The instruction series with our experts.
That's kind of our working title. So it's going to be a series of stuff that is not club specific. So there's going to be new stuff coming to the channel, and you'll see installment 1, I guess, basically will be with Larry, of course.
We're really excited about this one, aren't we?
I think it was great. Yeah.
We're really excited about this one. So we're going to kind of dive into some of the topics that we really think will help you guys over the winter. Not even over the winter, but just as more kind of things that you can add to your game to help it create better performance.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, so Larry's got some really good insights. We won't spoil
what it's about.
But
that'll be Larry's basically his first on-camera thing on our channel. Obviously, we mention him all the time. You'll see him more times. Plus, I think we teased a bit of what we're planning for the future on that, so stay tuned. Quick one from Dean here. I think this is a good question. So Dean only has 10 yards between his driver and his 3-wood. Assuming one of them is not. Well, I would assume the driver's not well fit, is it?
As much, yeah. How many yards do you expect to see between the 3-wood and
so
driver?
That depends on your swing speed.
Yeah, it depends on how far the driver's going. But
10 can never be enough.
Generally speaking, I'd say 20 to 30 would be a nice number.
Probably got too much spin or something on the driver.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do a quick rapid fire. I'm going to answer a bunch, and then we can always backtrack.
Cool.
Collared versus no collared shirt debate.
I actually prefer non-collared.
Do you?
I do.
I revived these little blade collars recently.
I have a black one of that top, and to be honest, it's probably my favourite golf top to wear, just from a comfort standpoint.
I know, no.
Really good.
I'll tell you what I want to get a couple pairs of. That'll be controversial. Have you seen it's Eric Van Rooyen on the European tour?
Right.
Grayson makes like a jogger pants.
See, I mean, you and I are not going to be popular for this. I really like those things.
They're so nice.
Do you? Do you?
Yeah, Brandon says yeah. Dude, I'll 100% I'll buy a few pairs of those. 100%.
I honestly.
To be fair, so
people were ripping on that guy. I was watching him play.
People need to chill, personally, but
playing somewhere the other week, and he was wearing them, and people were just ripping on him. I was like, I really.
That looks great.
I think it's great.
The top part of the pants it's not like they've got baggy pockets and drawstrings. They're still pants. You wear a belt. It's just the bottom is tapered, and I like them. I'm gonna order a few pairs. slightly sidetracked.
All right,
let's keep going. Do we have a fitting center in Houston, Texas?
Nope,
we do not. Maybe one day. Speed stick video. No, we did not continue with that.
Nope.
It's worthwhile, but we probably won't continue making videos about it for many, many reasons.
Yeah.
Notice the man was swinging out to in with the I-20, in to out with the G410. Is that swinging deuce? Good question. During that video, I was probably swinging more neutral in general, so both of them were probably close to 0. Was it weight induced? Possibly, because the I-20 was like C9. My driver is like D, what did I tell you, 7.5?
Yeah.
By the way, I think I want a lighter weight for that. What do you think?
For your driver?
So, yeah. Maybe like get it to D4 or something?
Yeah. Mikey's
sending in there.
Yeah.
I read my mind. Do you recommend ball fitting before or after club fitting?
After.
After club fitting. And potentially during, I guess, right? Could be part of this.
Like once the set's settled.
True,
Because once
after.
you're testing, yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's just in order to kind of fine tune it, it's okay, but a ball fitting itself, like to establish the ball.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm with you. So the ball fitting session that you do, which is like a 45-minute session, do that when everything else is done.
Yeah.
Good. Ken from the block, good question.
Yep.
What are the best game improvement irons out, according to you, Ian?
Best game improvement irons. I mean, the best. It's really hard to say what the best are.
What's your
Z585?
Okay.
I would say if overall general performance, Apex CF19 are great.
I know you have a lot of kind of favorites in that space, but those are two
real
very good ones.
Yeah.
Austin's asking, have you noticed faces being weaker on some of these newer clubs? Thinner face, weak spots? Take the really fast swinging person out of the equation.
Really rare.
For the average person, they don't cave a face very often.
No. Super rare that I see an iron caved in.
Yeah.
Very rare.
An iron would be, really rare.
Very
really
rare.
All right. From Cameron. Thank you, Cameron. Is it hard to hit full shots with a stock Vokey shaft, which is an S200, versus an aftermarket? I tend to hit really high and shorter on full swings.
Yeah.
Good question.
Not harder to hit full shots.
Yeah.
No. Still, the standard Vokey shaft S200.
Yeah.
So 129 grams. S200, S300, S400, 129, 130, 132 grams.
Right.
It's not much in it. Basically, S200, S300, S400 is a tolerance on the weight.
So this question is this to do with, I think what he's asking is, well, I'm going to, Cameron, hopefully this is where you're going with this question. I guess what he's asking is the stock shaft. Yeah. Is that really what you should take if you're going to rip full swings with a gap wedge, or should you really be trying to customize that with like your iron shafts? Should that be like the iron shaft? If you have, say you have Nippons in your irons.
Yeah. I mean, I think if Cameron's sort of leaning towards his tendency is to hit them high and short, in that the stock shaft is inferior to an aftermarket shaft,
right.
That's not the
not
case.
Inferior, but maybe not the right fit. That would be the only, I guess, time it. Say the S200 doesn't fit.
Depends probably what Cameron uses in his irons. Yeah. If that 129 gram shaft is significantly different, if he's currently using a Project X60 or a Nippon 950, compared to the Nippon 950, it could be a problem. Compared to a similar weighted shaft, it's not a problem.
So it has to be a disparity.
Yeah.
Good question though, Cameron. Good question. No. Southpaw, thank you. Good. Glad you were able to find us live.
Yeah.
Thank you for
that.
We're trying to do more lives, so hopefully more of you will have that question.
I think, we should probably address that.
Sure.
It's gone out a lot.
From Chris.
Yep. When is the new Mississauga location going to open? Any sneak peeks? The answer is we don't know. We're waiting on some issues on permits and different stuff like that. It's plans are all in place. We are being held back by the city of Mississauga.
You had the best of intentions, but this kind of stuff does happen.
These things happen. It's happened with every facility I've ever opened.
Yeah, and you wouldn't be. Everyone's had the same horror story from something.
There's a lot of things when it comes to zoning. It's quite people don't. You go to someone in a zoning office and try and explain to them what a custom club fitting facility is.
That's true.
They think you're retail. They think you're you think you're golf town sort of idea. So it takes a long time to try and explain and then to get that to sink in. So through no fault of our own, we're just waiting on official documents coming in.
It is not for lack of trying.
No, but you will be one of the first to know, Chris.
Okey-doke. Let's continue the speed round.
I like that. Speed round. Yeah.
Brandon, you good? It's been a long day. Do you got a jet? You're okay? Good to chill?
Sure.
Okay. No worries.
Poor Brandon's tired.
If you're tired, you're more than welcome. Me and Ian drink stimulating juice all day, so.
Brandon is the behind the scenes.
Come say hi, Brandon.
Yeah, brains behind this whole thing. He's doing a lot of the behind the scenes.
I was just gonna say this is perfect time. This is Brandon.
Here he is,
the man
behind the scenes.
So
capturing all the footage.
Yeah. So the last 2 weeks we've kind of been in practice mode. We're gonna have a new segment that's gonna be weekly. Going to make one this coming week. Little TXG behind the scenes weekly video.
Yep, we are.
So Brandon's been working with camera 3 basically,
Yep.
kind of following us around, capturing the nonsense that we do between.
Gotta be careful what you say now.
Videos. Well, I can always edit it. It's not like it's live. A couple times today, Brandon's got the camera and you're saying something that's obviously not fit for television, and you're like, Brandon, you better turn that off. I'm not going to put it in the video.
We're not live.
No, but it's good. I think sometimes we're accused of lacking personality. I've read that comment a few times. So if that is your concern, not to worry.
I wouldn't worry too much about that.
We will
one.
showcase that we live and breathe. But anyway, so Brandon being around is awesome for many reasons, but that is the one that you guys will see in the near future. Zachary ordered a set of MP20 SELs. That's awesome. I'm jealous.
Lovely iron.
They are really nice. Joe Lane, our pal. So far this year, the 2 best drivers, fairways, and hybrids. Ooh. For stability, forgiveness, and distance. Okay, so your best sort of well-rounded woods. They don't have to be from the same company.
Clearly, there's going to be a ping in there.
Yep.
G410, and depending on the golfer, you're going to be a plus or an LST. So both are contenders.
Okay. What's second?
I know. That's the tricky one. That is the tricky one.
Because stability and it's funny. Like the ping is just kind of. To be fair, it's in its own sort of world with that, isn't it?
I would say stability and forgiveness.
That's tough, eh?
That's a tricky one. I think M5's a good driver. Yeah. I think TS3's a great driver. Yeah. I mean, honestly, for specific golfers, M5, TS3, and what's the last one I was going to say? Epic Flash, especially Sub-Zero. We don't do an awful lot with the standard Epic Flash.
Why? Too spinny?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit kind of soft in flight.
I'm kind of surprised.
Doesn't have the legs. Yeah, we really don't do.
That's interesting. Do you think they've kind of flipped? Because I thought Rogue standard you'd seem to do quite a bit with, but the Sub-Zero was for sort of a more niche client.
I don't know, but the new Callaway driver is starting to surface, and
the fact that you use it despite it being green, it must be pretty good. Do you remember not being all that kind of stoked about even the performance of it when it first came out?
Of
Epic Flash. Do you remember just being kind of like, it's kind of whatever, and now it's after you've had time with it. I do
remember that. Yeah,
you've had time with it. It's kind of a go-to now.
Guys, honestly, I can't tell you how often that happens.
That's funny.
Over the years, when I've just almost not semi-written a driver off, but just can't get anything out of it. I'm just struggling with it, and then all of a sudden, you just kind of hit a little vein of form with it. And you figure it out. You find shafts that really just are great dance partners for it, and.
I mean, at the risk of shamelessly plugging this channel over others, that's kind of the reason I would watch this if I wasn't in it. But like the fact that you took 7 months of experience with the driver and you now would say, yes, this is good. Your first impression was, no, but well, sometimes. But your first impression was kind of like, whatever. Like I remember doing the video, we both were like, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Nothing special. But now it's probably in your top 3.
I know.
It's kind of a funny way how that works. Fairways.
Fairways, Callaway, Epic Flash, no question, and Titleist, TS3.
Hybridos?
Hybrids, Titleist and Ping.
Really?
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. Okay. Joe, good question. Thank you.
Really good, Joe.
Brandon, another Brandon. Brandon woke up, he's like, yes. Project X versus LZ, what is the difference?
The micro taper in the middle section, a little bit softer. A little bit more feel, the load zone.
LZ is a bit softer.
Yeah,
gotcha.
In the midsection.
Pat Smith is asking, he is our neighbor to the south.
Yep.
If I cross the border to come up and get fitted, will
Pat,
you send my clubs back?
We send a lot of clubs to the US, so
no problem.
I personally, in the Middle Bay here, spend way more time with American clients than I do with Canadian clients.
It's really become that way, eh?
Yeah, no
That's
question.
crazy.
Yep.
Pat, take advantage of our horrendous Canadian dollar and
Yeah.
enjoy a discount.
Well, that's a good one.
This one here?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Question about the Dynamic Gold series from True Temper.
These kind of myths exist. You know, I've heard that some shaft gets stiffer with age. Is that true? Dynamic goes up in flex in 3 to 4 years. Absolutely not true.
Okay.
No. I mean, there's also ones that shafts wear out.
Yeah, like lose their pop or something?
They don't.
Okay, good. The speed round continues. Okay, from Colby. Is the Playmate a helpful training aid for someone who struggles with early extension? Hell yes.
Oh, made for the person who struggles
yes.
with early extension.
Throw a pre-order in, Colby. Be patient
Yeah,
with those
yeah,
guys.
yeah.
They are, they're almost, I feel bad, like they're almost being bashed for not having any stock, but it's not, who could have known how well it would have done? No one
That
could have
second-hand market, or no, that secondary market is
Yeah.
apparently crazy right now.
Resale.
Resale. People are
Really?
doubling, tripling the price of them on eBay.
I almost hate to see that
Yeah.
because it's like,
It's crazy.
it's a bit of profiteering, but it is what it is. Anyway, they made something really good.
Yeah.
It oversold.
Guys are
one could
phenomenal.
no one could have predicted, but it's a good item. It is.
Cody, look at that one at the top there.
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, negative bounce. So Cody's asking, is negative bounce or positive bounce better for irons? Well, the reality is the amount of forward shaft lean that is most people will deliver will probably negate the amount of bounce anyway. So if you have 5 degrees of bounce and you lean that shaft 9 degrees forward, you're not working with the bounce is tilted. It's tilted sort of in the negative.
So the bounce is back
delivered
here, and if you
negative, yeah.
lean the shaft, it's gone anyway.
It's gone anyway. So, and that's an ideal scenario. So there's other sort of other factors in there. So width is one that we touch on an awful lot in the
Yes.
channel, isn't it?
Yes.
It really is.
That's another thing I think that I've heard you talk about more. The
Yeah.
longer I've been here, the more
Yeah.
that sole width has become kind of like a...
It's quite interesting. I don't know why these things tend to happen, but law of attraction. But you tend to end up. I've worked with more really shallow golfers than ever before.
Really?
Really
I
shallow
wonder
golfers.
if that's a product of how instruction is evolving.
Yeah,
The
I
kind of
wonder.
tips you read about
I know.
are mostly about shallowing your golf swing, right?
Yeah.
Are there any course vlogs coming in the immediate future? No. In the mid to longer future, yes. You may be aware that the climate in Toronto sucks, and it is about to be no golf
It
season.
would be very interesting to, do maybe a little experiment with you where we just give you a generic set for 9 holes, then give you your optimized set for
How do
9
you
holes,
play?
and see what the result is. How you're able to control your golf
Yeah,
ball.
misfit set.
Yeah.
Should do that with the wrong golf ball too.
Yeah.
We'll be on this, Logie, but it'll be maybe something over the winter while we're away, but we're going to make it a priority next spring in town. Jack is asking, can the offset of a forged head be adjusted? If you like the forgiveness of the cavity, but you don't like the offset. That's a pretty
So
niche.
someone asked me this question in the Q&A last night. I have never seen a set successfully bent, or I've never seen the offset be bent off a set of irons successfully.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I think people assume a lot of tour players have that done.
Yeah.
Is that just a bit of a myth?
I think there's enough variety out there for you to end up in the right amount of offset. I mean, I think generally speaking, that's, there's not many people out there who are going to play a head style that has so much offset on it that you need to bend the offset off it. So
That would be a very specific preference.
very, very unique. I mean, it was much more common in the past, but there's really, really next to zero chat about doing that anymore.
Okay, Jack, don't buy a set of irons if you don't like the offset.
Exactly. That's a good point.
Willie, this is a good timed question. So it's basically saying people are playing game improvement irons but playing blade wedges.
Yes.
Video on this is actually planned in the next couple weeks.
Right. So if you're specifically relying on ball speed as a sort of performance characteristic, use something that matches the iron set much more, right? So
Blends
that's
in.
where something like a Glide 3.0 has an advantage.
Cleveland's new CBX2.
CBX2, exactly. Very good point, which we actually have that to test.
Saw that.
So, yeah, I think that's why gap wedge, we often do a cavity back. When it comes to sand and lob wedge, we're not really relying as much on the ball speed.
Do you think there's a disadvantage though? Like, is there any disadvantage beyond my preference of look that I shouldn't play game improvement? I know there's disadvantages to game improvement irons for distance control.
Sure.
Do you think that transfers into the, I know it's a bit of a new category, but I wonder if it gets into that 56 and 60 range.
I saw someone answer this question recently, and they kind of said that, well, if you go with a cavity back, you lose out in the versatility you get with a specialist wedge.
Yeah, do you though?
I couldn't disagree with that more.
I don't see how
I do not agree with that. I don't see people playing a host of different shots with a gap wedge. I don't see them opening it and kind of, finessing one in there.
But even to that point, it's got a cavity on it, fine. But like, does it really stop you from opening the face? Does it really stop you from? I don't know. I don't see how it stops you from doing anything.
Yep. And then there's the point of, okay, when you've got a little bit of a shorter club, slightly heavier shaft, are you able to make, better contacts, a slower swing, the target isn't as far away, there's not the same sort of challenges involved, so you're probably able to retain slightly better performance, so maybe you can get away from having as much of a cavity.
I still think everyone mishits wedges.
Yeah.
I told like 8 wedges around.
I really do pay attention to efficiency and ball speed when it comes to a wedge fit.
Good question, Willie.
Yeah, very good question, Willie.
Good quick one from Steven. How often would you say you are doing a little combo set?
Very often.
Half the time?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Nice. All right, let's continue. Why don't we grab something from the bottom?
Down.
Yep. And
There's a couple of those.
Supers? Super dupers?
Super dupes.
Let me get one of them. Let me grab that.
It's a good one.
Okay, take that.
Yeah. Which parameter, equipment-wise, would you tinker with if you wanted to lower someone's launch angle with irons?
Yes, perfect.
Perfect.
We were just talking about this.
You would adjust the loft.
Number one.
Yeah. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean because you lower launch that you're going to lower height.
True.
Because you can increase velocity, and obviously we need to see what the spin is in there. But if you wanted to directly influence launch, the best way to do that is through loft.
Perfect. From Dennis. So Dennis likes his set of P760s.
Great set.
Project X 6.0s. Does not like the feel of the shaft.
Not uncommon.
So this actually ties into what you just said. So obviously he likes the ball flight.
Yeah.
So he's worried about changing the ball flight, but wants to change the feel. Realistically, is the ball flight really going to change if you went to, I don't know, like a KBS or something?
Like an S-taper or something
Is
like
it
that.
really going to change?
S-taper would be a nice one.
Yeah.
Yep.
It won't
S-taper
change
would
the
be
launch and spin probably?
No.
And just give them a different
Not much. Go to something, if you're looking for sort of a better feel, I'd go to something like an S-taper 120 or a Modus 120.
Perfect. There was another one I'm going to grab, and then I'll scroll back up. From Mark. Mark, I'm going to grab your question. Stand by. Okay. That's a good question, actually. So, talking about either weakening a 2-iron or strengthening a 3-iron driving iron to get the loft that Mark wants. Which is better, I guess, is what the question is. Would you be better off strengthening the 3-iron or weakening the 2-iron? It's a good question.
It's a good question. Really does depend how much we're talking about adjusting it.
Yeah, true enough.
If we're talking a degree either way, a degree and a half, don't worry about it. It's insignificant enough.
And they probably shouldn't be bending it more than that anyway.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because the stock would be a 4-yard gap or a 4-degree gap anyway.
Yep, definitely. My preference for me would be to start with less and add a little bit, because I don't like when I strengthen irons. I don't like seeing offset.
Okay.
Right. So
Okay.
when you take like a 21 degree or 22 degree iron and turn it into 18, for me, that's one of the most horrific looking
Just
clubs.
doesn't look right.
Just looks horrendous. When you have that straight face and a ton of offset, ugh.
It's a bad combination. Yeah, that's true.
I'd rather go 17, turn up to like 19 or something like that.
Yeah, give you the nice look.
Yeah.
Question. Lamar needs to look at a head change or loft adjustment, not a shaft change. Safe to say. If you're spinning at 3,300, I doubt there's a shaft that's gonna fix that for you at that speed.
1 second. Do a little bit quick math help Lamar here.
Okay.
Okay, so something in Lamar's speed is off. So either the ball speed is wrong or the club speed is wrong. So his max ball speed at 116 is 174. His club head speed, if he's 182 divided by 1 point, is about depends what he's been measured on, but he's either 121. So there's either discrepancy on club head speed or discrepancy on ball speed first and foremost.
Gotcha.
The question was about spin.
Yeah, either way he's quick, obviously. 3,300 is way too much spin.
So go with a head where you can sort of get the CG forward, get the loft down, make sure you're not exposing too much dynamic loft. If you're able to measure that on GC Quad, make sure you keep it below 17. If you're on TrackMan, make sure you keep it below 14 in order to kind of hit those nice low 2,000 RPM spin windows.
Perfect. From Alex. So Alex wants to put a Tensi Pro hybrid shaft.
You need to know if it's a white, a blue, orange.
0.3. Is this like a tip diameter question? Like
Tensi Pro hybrid, 370.
to a TMB.
Yeah.
As I prefer an iron over hybrid.
I mean, if you look at, Alex, if you look at the wall thickness on that, it's really not uncommon for a club builder to sand that tip down a little bit more. Not uncommon at all. Gotcha. Just make sure when you do it, you're doing even amount of sanding. You don't kind of get a flat spot on one side and weaken the wall thickness. But it really isn't all that uncommon just to turn that
can be modified
down a little bit more.
Gotcha.
Yeah. The alternative is if you wanted to obviously remount the hosel diameter and turn the 355 into 370 with a reamer. But most people don't like to do that, because you're adjusting the weight of the head and you're also changing the characteristics of the inside diameter.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, makes sense. I'll take this quickly. Austin, currently it's kind of the mid-size on the TXG putter grip. There is another size, but it doesn't say TXG in it, but maybe in the future. Yeah. Maybe in the future.
It's the same grip, isn't it? Same forward grip?
Yes. Yes, it is. Stock limited as well.
Whisker's buying shares here. And the first
9-hole golf course.
And turning it into a fitting and experience center.
That'd be cool, eh? Imagine having 9 holes where you could fit people.
Yep.
All right, Whisker, you're in. You are in. From Brandon. Have you fit T100, T200 combo sets?
Yeah. Tough one, that combo set. There's such a distinct difference in kind of sound and feel from the T1 to the T2. So we haven't done too much. I think the look transitions really well. I think the look transitions, very well. I would have liked to have seen a slightly narrower delta in sound and feel.
Gotcha. Yeah, so you don't pull at your next one in the set.
I tell you what, I will say though, T200 when it's right for the customer, holy smokes, it's hot. Really good iron.
Nice. Yeah, there's one more I'm going to get before I... Oh, no. Okay. There it is. From Patrice. Patrice, let me find it.
Question above.
Question above. Oh, dear. I don't know how I'm going to find that for you, bud. There it is.
There you go.
Oh, it's all over it today. Okay. Oh, this is actually timely for you. So question about elbow pain and arthritis. What are your thoughts about shaft inserts, grips, different shafts for dampening the vibrations?
Shafts inserts, yep. I mean, I think anything you can do to dampen vibration obviously is very, very helpful.
Is there a grip specifically that?
Yeah, there's certain grips if you go to things like CP2 Pro. There's a few other ones that are have
do that?
Vibration dampening capabilities. Yep.
So it's definitely worthwhile. It's a measurable difference.
Yep.
That's for sure.
I mean, a lot of people talk about the ProSoft inserts that you can put into irons. People talk very, very highly of those. I've heard some people talk really highly again about the True Temper Elevate, the VSS.
Oh, yeah? Is there something actually in the shaft there?
Yeah, there is. Yep. So kind of like a evolution of Sensicore.
Gotcha. Oh yeah, I remember those.
Remember that? Problem with Sensicore was always the foam. The foam in the Sensicore, if moisture got into the shaft, the foam would hold moisture and it would actually rust the shaft from the inside, and it could create breakage.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a problem. Mm-hmm. That is a problem. Tom, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Info@txg.ca?
Info@txg.ca.
Let us know what you want. I took that. Okay, Joe has a follow-up. See below. See below. How far below?
Tough one today. Lots of questions. Let me give you a hand here. Let me dive back in.
Guys, generally, if you send a super chat, not that we don't super appreciate it, just try to put your question in at the same time because it's very hard to find where it is if it's not in there.
Brandon, do you have your laptop with you? You want to fire it up? Fire angle, let's go 3 ways at the questions.
That's good. Good point.
Let's do that.
Good point. I don't know where this is. If you want to take another one while I do this.
Okay.
I'm going to lose it in the shuffle otherwise.
Thundermark 2, the Ping G410 flat lie angle setting, would you use it for direction or high hands? You would use it always for direction. You're trying to influence the face plane in order to sort of make the launch direction.
Yeah, it's intended to modify your start line.
Colby's asking, are you guys going to do a what's in the bag for Tiger?
We had an idea.
Yeah, well, it was actually one of Ernest who sent in a note earlier on saying it'd be really cool to do a what's in the bag for Tiger when he gets his first win. Where did he get his first win? Vegas?
Yep.
His first win in
96.
Vegas. Yep, 96 versus yesterday. That'd be cool, eh?
Yeah, let's keep that in mind for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's take this one here. So we're talking about the new KBS Driver Shaft.
Shaft, yep.
Reading some forums that are saying if you tip them, it makes the shafts too stiff.
Certainly too stiff is a subjective thing, but you actually said the shaft felt great.
I didn't think it felt stiff at all. So then, has this been tipped?
This has been tipped an inch.
It's been
tipped an inch, and that's the Tour extra stiff. That's called the Cat 5.
Take my limited feedback in saying that I don't think it makes it too stiff. Mm-hmm. Is 1 inch like the standard kind of tip preparation?
On Club Connect's 3/4 is standard, so I tipped it a little bit more for you.
So you would do that based on the player?
Yeah.
But generally speaking, like if you tip a shaft, it's because you want it to play stiffer. Why would you tip it if you're not looking? I know what he's saying, but it's like you wouldn't just do it for no reason. Like you're looking for it to play stiffer.
Correct.
I don't think it does anything that another shaft wouldn't do when tipped, I guess. It's not like it's unique in that.
It's definitely not sort of alone in its shaft characteristics.
Gotcha.
I think what we're going to see next week is when we test the Patterson shafts out. I think we're very likely to see some of the stiffest, most stable feeling shafts that we've ever tested. Yep. From what I can gather so far and the little bit I've kind of done with them, I think you're probably in to see something quite unique.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good.
Yep.
Makes sense, right? Being the long drive kind of shaft of
Very
choice.
True. Rick Van Dypen is asking, is it possible to build a low spinning, high MOI driver?
Good question.
It is absolutely very, very possible to do that.
I have a feeling I know what you would go for?
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be in the Ping LST range. You and I both use it.
Lower lofts, probably?
We both like the idea of having a very stable driver, but we're both not looking to have excess spin, so we both like the LST.
It's a good balance. It's not the lowest spinning head out there, obviously, but it can be quite low spin in the correct loft.
Yeah, for sure.
From Ryan. Thank you, Ryan. So Ryan misses to the left with his 3-wood to 6 iron. Not so much in the short irons. Should I go to a 1 degree? Okay, so 1 degree upright would not be fixing a pull. 1 degree upright would make it go further left, right?
So he misses on the left from 3-wood to 6 iron. 7 to pitch and wedge is fine. Should I go 1 degree upright to fix that? Assuming, Ryan, that you're a right-handed golfer. Yeah. Most of the world is. No, you should certainly not go upright. If anything, go slightly flatter. Yeah. But
I'm assuming, left being a hooker.
Yeah, take a look at, if you can get access to a launch monitor, TrackMan, have a look at your vertical swing plane. Make sure it's 62 or lower with a 6 iron or 7. Yeah, 6 iron, because that's the first club that starts to kind of become a problem. So 62 degrees or lower would be nice. If it comes to GC quad, have a look at dynamic lie angle, but definitely verify your delivery on a launch monitor before you can.
Oh, he's a lefty. Perfect.
Lefty. There you go.
Thanks, Brandon.
Yeah.
So in that case, yes, going upright in the longer irons, it's a push for Ryan. Yep. So theoretically, yes.
So if you're a lefty, go 1 degree upright, try a couple of degrees upright.
Yeah, see what corrects it.
Play with it.
Good that you followed up, Ryan. Thank you.
Sometimes that can be the case, though, Matty, when players, so 6 iron to 3-wood, you're starting to use more speed. Sometimes in order to get more speed out your swing, you can use more vertical force. You can get into early extension a little earlier and raise the handle.
Most people do that, right?
Yeah.
All right, from Dennis. Dennis was asking about his P760s, so this is a follow-up. Okay, differences to factor in P750 versus P760. He was also fit for P750 Modus 120. P760 is a little more forgiving?
Yeah, it's more forgiving. It's a little more progressive. Obviously, from the approach wedge to the 8 iron, I think it is, no speed foam. 7 has little speed foam, and then progressively more as you progress into the long irons. Long irons become slightly larger in the head, a little bit more progressive, whereas P750s, it's a real strictly player's iron.
Is it basically just like a Titleist CB kind of thing, those 750s, similar?
Yeah, like that. I mean, a little bit, very narrow in the top line, very narrow sole. It's a really classy looking iron.
Is that what John Rahm plays? 750s?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we caught up to the present. I'm going to go back to the past a little bit.
Brandon, what do you see?
Anything popping out that
Any
you missed?
good news?
So unfortunately, I can only go back as far as when I opened the
Oh, right.
Oh,
okay.
really?
Makes
yeah,
sense.
that makes sense.
Makes sense.
You can't time travel to the same degree. Well, let us know if you see something that requires our attention.
Rizal is saying, have you ever thought of exporting TXG to Kuala Lumpur? Oh. There may be people who turn up.
That would be good if someone turned up.
I'm not sure if we'll get if that's the right business plan to transport it and then hope that people turn up.
That's right. We'd have to make sure people turn up.
Yes, yeah. We're in the process right now of establishing the strength of the brand, and then we will be very, very carefully selecting our locations based on really demand.
Of course. Hopefully, some location eventually that is closer to Kuala Lumpur than Toronto is. How about that?
Yeah, we would like to do an Asia location.
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
would say that would be not unrealistic, right?
Yep.
All right. Ian wears G4 shoes every week, pretty much. I usually wear Nikes, if anyone cares. I sure don't. More plane-made action. Top 3 to, well, first of all, I've been slacking, not practicing with it because I sprained my finger, but it is a really good backswing tool for someone who yanks the club too far inside. It is really good for your exit point and release. And that's all I can think of right now, so that's my answer.
Okay.
You see anything?
Yeah, there's a couple of good ones.
Have it?
Reasons for pros playing raw wedges.
I thought I was almost
Good
gonna
one.
do that.
Very good one.
I'd like to know that.
Yeah,
Too.
the plating on the wedge will dull the grooves.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if you take the grooves and plate into the groove and sort of deep in and out the grooves, you're going to round those edges slightly. Yeah.
But don't they allow for that in the tolerances? Like when the just for argument's sake, like the raw wedge before a Vokey gets treated.
It's just the precision in which they can guarantee.
So they'd be
the
worried about it
performance,
being.
It was something Chris Vauchal said to us.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, that's what he was saying when he was here.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. Who's this guy?
Where?
Dude in the black t-shirt. The dude in the black t-shirt.
You've got Ian's attention for the wrong reason.
Yeah, for the wrong reason.
Oh man, what do you fit Tiger for if he walks in? Nothing. Handshake and a high five.
Well, we have a really interesting video coming out soon, this week.
Yes. Maybe tomorrow.
Because we made sort of, obviously watching this week, so many things to take away. Incredible iron game. His putting and sort of approach play was vintage Tiger. The driving was really, apart from the first round, it wasn't great, but from second round onwards, driving was very good. But he's obviously got a driver now that's set to be functional, not optimal. There's a big difference between functional and hitting it as far as you possibly can, which is what we would consider to be optimal.
Yeah, like most people take the word optimal and say, how far can I hit it, basically.
That's it, and you know, I used to kind of talk to a lot of instructors about that, and we used to certainly agree a lot of the time that it's more positive to be functional than it is to have every one of your numbers the perfect launch angle, the perfect spin rate.
He must be the most functional on tour. Like I know Brooks is a little low launch, high spin, a little. And I'm trying to think of who else, maybe DJ or someone probably doesn't have the flattest flight, but Tiger's got to be the highest spin driver player out there. Alfred's asking if he were to get a set of MP20s, say from wherever, insert store here, would it still be worth coming into TXG for a loft and a lie check, even though they're brand new? That's a yes. Not for the purposes of making sure that they're right, Alfred, but I think for the purposes of gapping, no? To make sure that your distances are all... He's saying if he went to Golf Town and bought them and then came here for a gapping
Yeah, I mean, you
session.
could. Obviously, I mean, anyone's welcome to bring any of their clubs. You're missing out on several key components of, of buying a set of golf clubs.
Ideally, you should get them fit.
100%.
But if there's...
and not just fit, have them built. You know, with every single specific...
True enough.
Characteristic in mind, and the build process is significantly overlooked. It really is. Having a set built properly is.
It's overlooked for now until we.
Yep.
Change that.
Yep.
Joe.
See, I saw that one and I left that one alone.
I know. I'm just doing it to bug you.
I know. The biggest disappointment of 2019.
We don't do that here, Joe. We don't do that.
It's not our thing, Joe.
I'll give you a hint. If you haven't seen it on the channel. It may be
that's
on our
always
list.
that's been always been on our answer. Well, I mean, I'm not going to dive into one of the drawers because we're just not going to see.
Well, you don't
anything.
carry stuff that sucks, so.
No, what's been the biggest disappointment? I tell you, I mean, I can openly say this.
I'm waiting for this. Can't believe you're actually answering this. It's hilarious.
No, I don't think it makes it a bad driver because I've just said it's one of the better drivers, but I think the injected speed foam in the TaylorMade drivers has not made them faster.
That's fair.
That's disappointed me. Now, I know they were not designed to make it faster.
No, I know.
But if anything, the inclusion of that may have slowed them down more than was necessary.
What you've said to me is like, if someone wants the most, or if you really need to get someone ball speed, you haven't really been reaching for TaylorMade drivers.
Correct.
Well, you used to.
Unless their delivery characteristics are naturally high in production of ball speed. So low dynamic loft and upward angle
So
attack.
they're already kind of hammering it.
Yeah, very low spin loft and good centered strike, all those sorts of things.
It's a good answer because it's sort of what's the word? Backhanded. Like you fit a lot of people for M5 and M6. It's a good driver, and it's not like you don't like them, but in a way, it's a bit disappointing that it isn't like they made it super fast all of a sudden.
I would have liked. I'm expecting to see 2020's driver lineup
Just be
very
crazy fast.
TaylorMade have the formula in house. They've made the fastest drivers in the market for years.
Yeah, true.
I was a huge sort of M2 fan. Thought M2 was a phenomenal. M1 was good for the right time. It was just a little bit less stable. But I would say I was probably just a fraction disappointed with the ball speed on M5.
Speed foam was not the biggest thing of the year. Fair. What's going on in the present there? Anything?
In the present, Tiger Mundo, his M5 is a bomber. Great. That's
It
awesome.
absolutely can be. Let me take this.
Go for it.
From the capital H.
Putter suggestion for
question.
someone that has a stroke that's pretty straight back and through, but their miss is a pull. I would say get something with a little additional toe hang, something that has
Additional toe hang.
Yep.
A lot of people are going to look not going to know what the hell you're talking about.
So
because you're saying it's a straight back, straight through stroke.
Yeah, exactly.
They're thinking you're going to say face balance.
Well, if that's face balance to the putter, and a putter like an Answer, a Newport style has a little bit of toe hang, then we have some resistance to the rotation, so we can sort of stabilize the face.
Because he's pulling it, that's why you want toe hang.
We're so fortunate to have Quintic where we can sort of establish the rate of rotation of the player. The new ability, because there's so many frames, we've got 720 frames per second, so we're now able to monitor the rate of rotation pre and post impact.
Right.
So we are able to basically find the exact putter that returns the face to square, and also establish the rate of rotation acquired to make sure that happens all the time. So if I would say generally for me, 3 inches out from impact, we're going to find that the putter should be around 2.5 degrees open to allow for that rate of rotation of about 30 to 50 degrees per second.
Yep.
So if we're about 2.5 inches open, 3 inches out from impact, we should be about perfectly square at impact. Now, if your rate of rotation is up around maybe 70 or 80 degrees per second, we might want to be 3.5 degrees open leading into impact, because your rate of rotation is higher. So over the same distance, you rotate that putter faster. So we need to influence the positioning of that head as it approaches impact.
By using toe hang.
Correct. Length, weight of putter, we use all those things to get all those little 1% in line. So we always try to compound the influence of the technology.
Well, I think it's just good, that answer, because I have a bad feeling that if he asked this for capital H, I'm not sure what her gender is, to be honest, but if he went to a big box store,
you're straight back, straight through.
Here's a giant mallet for you.
Yeah, because if you look on the label on a ping putter, and it says this putter is for a straight back, straight through, for an arc, for a slight arc. That sort of thing.
That's the what's the word? That's the boilerplate, right?
Yeah.
Good question.
Yep.
Calvin, yes, I grew up in the Toronto area, Toronto, Ontario, not Ontario, California.
In your guys' opinion, which is the best club going into 2020? I'm not sure what that means. The best club going into 2020 that's already been released, I assume, because we don't know.
I guess so, yeah. What's the best?
What's the
kind of hard
best?
to pick the best club.
What are we doing a lot of right now? Really tough to say. I don't have a bias towards anything.
I know.
So
it's probably for the best.
I love all my children equally.
It's probably for the best. You don't have a bias towards anyone.
It's good.
Joe, I apologize if I couldn't find your question earlier, but I appreciate you sending us another little tip. Okay, quick tempo, aggressive swing, so a little bit over the top, lots of speed, obviously, high ball flight. Better shaft for a TXG driver, Tensy white or an even flow white T1100. Oh, okay, sorry, there's two different heads here.
Got it. So Tensei white with the TS3 and the even flow. That's interesting. Very two different sort of balance points on either shaft, but you're talking about two different head weights at the same time. Probably somewhat cancel each other out.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. The T1100 is high enough balance point that it will sort of reposition the swing weight on the LST.
G410. So a little bit more total weight. So if that G410 head weighs more, the shaft is a little bit counterbalanced.
I'm reading this again. Better shaft for the TS3, Tensei white or even flow T1100. And then I don't know where the LST fits in.
Maybe as a bonus. Joe, let us know which driver you're talking about.
So in terms of the TS3, I would say personally Tensei white.
Okay.
For you, Joe, would be better.
And then the T1100 would be more suited towards the...
Would be more suited towards the other one. Just the head weights are quite significantly different.
Okay. If Joe, if that isn't what you asked, then let us know. We're watching. Brandon, anything we missed over there that looks...
One question that I thought was interesting was, has TXG fit many people into the even roll putters, and what are your thoughts on the new gravity grip?
Even roll putters and gravity grip.
Even roll putters are great. Very, very popular. I think that I've always had a slight issue with the even roll putters because they are predominantly bent shafts. So the bend is actually in the shaft rather than having an adjustable neck, like a plumber's neck or some kind of flow neck. So the even roll 1.2 is the blade is very adjustable. We do really well with that one as the blade, but like the ER2, ER1, those styles of putters, the problem is that, if you do need any adjustment to loft specifically, which we obviously the whole reason you come to TXG is to optimize those little degrees here and there. It becomes really, really tricky to adjust the loft because then you start to have face angle issues.
I didn't know that was even a thing.
Yeah.
So the neck of the putter, certain ones really can't be adjusted very well.
So if I bend, so basically I'd take an ER2 and say you're delivering too much dynamic loft, you're launching the ball at 2.5 degrees with 30 RPMs of backspin. If you don't want to press the hands forward, you like how you release the putter, you make a lot of putts.
Okay.
If we want to optimize the roll, we would try and press loft off it, then the face would sit wide open. So it's not as easy. So if you've got a plumber's neck and you obviously take the loft off, the face still sits square. Yeah.
I did not know that. At all. Good question. Austin, Ian is alive. He survived. He was in the hospital for an allergic episode.
Yeah. My face was like, have you ever seen the movie Hitch?
Yeah. That was you?
That was me.
Just some light allergic.
We were sitting texting each other, weren't we? We were talking about...
Well, so I was asking you about something, wasn't that important.
Yeah.
And you're like... I asked you something, you're like, I'm in the hospital in the emergency room. I was like, okay, well, I'll call you back later. It's not really important. You're like, no, I got time.
No, that's a good time.
I was like, talked for half an hour. I was like, okay, sure. He survived. He's just fine.
It happens this time of year. We don't know what it is.
It's
some kind of environmental reaction. So
it sucks, but PXG stuff, they might have new stuff coming in the near future. They don't. Am I completely blanking, or were they at the PGA show?
No, they don't go to.
So they don't care about that. So they're going to release new stuff at some point, but they won't care about that.
There will be some new stuff coming.
Yep. Whisker Rubson says I should cut my pinky off.
You're doing great.
Just a couple nights I've considered it. Yeah, it's okay. It's fine. It's just a pain.
How's the movement kind of back there?
That's what a normal pinky does. That's what this pinky does. So it's I mean, it's still swollen, but there's worse things that can happen to you. That's for damn sure.
For sure.
I will live.
For sure, my man. What's
right.
Cooper Wright's question?
Yeah, grab that.
Yeah. Cooper is a scratch player. He was fit into Miura CB57. Plus 1.5 inch, 2 degrees flat. My miss is left. And I can feel the toe digging. Should I get my irons bent upright to improve the strike? So
That's a good question.
I guess
Where is
a really
that?
good question.
I want to pop that up.
7:01. It's 7:01, so it was 4 minutes ago, so fairly close.
Jesus. This doesn't have timestamps
It's
on it.
pretty close to that.
It's close to this?
Yeah, no, back up. Yeah, sorry, the other way. Oh, there you go. Well done. Generally, the rule of thumb for me is that if it's 3 degrees down or up, we're going to have issues with the way the sole interacts with the ground. So we're talking about being 5 or 6 degrees toe down. Yes, I mean you're very likely to be throwing the toe down.
Even though obviously going more upright isn't going to help
Yeah.
you with your left miss.
Yeah, I mean if we're throwing the corner of this golf club now, if we look at the sort of rounded sort of camber to the sole there. You remember when Vauchal was in and he was, he said most people are worried about the sole curvature that way, but they're not really thinking about how the camber is that way. Well, if you drop that club too much toe down, you're going to start getting a lot of that little edge catching the ground. I mean, if you're somewhere around about here, you're probably going to be okay. But when that starts being 5-6 degrees and then you're all the way out here, that's a big problem to the delivery. So it depends on the amount. And I've kind of came to the conclusion, working with dynamic lie, enough that 3 degrees is about as much as I'm comfortable seeing. So you can influence the face a little bit to tilt and push the launch direction around. Any more than that, and you will start to compromise the consistency of the strike. So
Interesting.
So really, I think to go back, obviously, to Cooper's question, if your toe is digging to the point, I would actually get the line, go back upright, and if your ball is still going, obviously left, that's a swing issue.
Work on the swing part.
Go get a lesson and figure out what's causing the face to flip.
Gotcha. Derek is asking if you often add weight to the F9 driver when you're doing fits with it.
Do you guys often add most of the time?
And what would you say is the bump?
75% of the time.
8 grams or so extra?
No, I would say we go from being 2 and 14 to an additional 4 to 6 grams.
Okay.
Not too much.
Joe said you had an allergic reaction to green paint fill. Is that entirely possible?
Just green?
Just green.
Just green.
The trees?
I think so.
The trees, the grass. John's asking about the SEL's MP20s. Do they live up to the hype? I'm not sure. I think the hype is extremely strong, so it's hard to say, but they are as good a blade as we've tried.
Yes.
That's for sure. I can't imagine someone being disappointed with them. How's that? Really can't imagine you being disappointed. So Derek, we did just grab your question a second ago. In case you missed it, 4 to 6 grams is what Ian usually adds to the F9, but we have at times added as much as 10, I think. Yeah. So yes, absolutely. Up that head weight. Okay, 7 more minutes, and then I gotta go.
Okay.
Can I go injure another finger at hockey tonight?
No, don't go to hockey.
Dude, I mail it in anyway. I'm not even, asked my friends last week, I played like I was a pylon.
Can you be the coach or something like that? You're back on form, you hit top form today.
Did I?
Oh.
Brandon, was I on form today? I was on.
With that Cobra test.
Okay, last test was good, I agree.
That was pretty good. What was the other one? Tiger and Rory.
I think it was okay. That took a while though.
A little bit. What else did we do?
Golf ball thing?
Yeah, safe to say ball speeds were up in some cases.
Yeah,
That's true.
the golf ball one.
That golf ball was so fun.
Can we tease that? No.
Yeah,
Just leave that alone.
no, don't, because then people know exactly what the result is. Yeah.
Okay, we'll leave that.
There's a fun golf ball video coming.
There is a golf ball test coming that is just.
Don't say too much, because there's only gonna be one, and then they'll know exactly what you're talking about.
It's crazy.
Fine. I love it.
How do we ban Thunder Mark II?
For a second, I thought you
How
were
does he
serious.
get banned from the channel forever?
Oh, click out. There you go. I thought you were serious for swearing at you.
It'd be as well making
funny.
a new handle, hiding yourself, and
That's hilarious.
just a joke.
You're still welcome here.
Matt can answer your questions. I'll be skipping right past them.
Thundermark 2 was the question? Who's that? We got to get some of these left dash things.
Yeah, I
in.
know.
We have
I
to.
know.
Titleist, if you're watching, we want a box.
Yeah.
ASAP. ASAP.
I know. Actually, do you know what? I was thinking about that on the way here today, but I think it'll work better next week because we have a test in mind.
Yeah,
don't
good
we?
point.
That'll work
Would you fire it
really
into that
nicely.
test?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we get them by next week?
Yeah. Hopefully, if they have them at Eagle's Nest, we can sneak up and we just need a sneaky little
Oh yeah,
sleeve.
I forgot about the National Fitting Center being 20 minutes from here.
So true, isn't it? Ryan is asking your guys' favourite irons in the past 10 years. Brandon?
That'd have to be the set I play right now.
Ooh.
So
Strixons.
What do you have? 785s?
Love them.
Wow.
Matthew?
I've only ever had 3 sets of irons, so
Ever? No, ever.
no. I've had 4.
My favourite set of irons.
I haven't. I'm not in a position to chime in on that. I'm not. I've had like 4 sets of irons, and
Well,
whenever I'm swinging well, whatever it is great. Oh, this is great. Oh, this is good.
favourite set of irons in the past 10 years.
What do you miss? What do you wish you still kind of had the mojo of?
So many.
There's a lot of lefties chiming in
Past
there.
10 years. Oh, I'd be going back a little bit. I'm actually going to throw this in there. Callaway X14 Pro Series.
Oh, well, that's old.
That's old.
You're
but
not that
I
old,
love
are you?
those.
Are you that
Won
old?
my first ever pro tournament with those. Shot
That would be-
66
that would be why you like
in a
them.
one-rounder with those, and I collected my first ever paycheck as a pro.
Wow. See, that's a memory.
Yeah.
That's a memory.
Love those.
It's 14 pros. Joshua is losing distance with a high ball flight, early release issue. Should I strengthen the lofts or change the shaft? You should strengthen the lofts.
Yeah,
Joshua?
I'm gonna take a pass on those answers from now. I've answered that one enough.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll answer it. Joshua, you will waste your money
Joshua,
on different shafts.
Honestly, if you pop the ball position back in your stance a little bit, if you transfer your weight a little bit more onto your lead side, if you will really work on some short shots, just to, getting that ball flight to come down a little bit, really working that dynamic loft. I really think that's an issue that will demand some technical changes. Try not to put too much of a band-aid on that with
to be fair,
with
yeah,
equipment.
AP3 lofts are fairly
They're strong
already.
anyway, and if you're 150 feet,
Far too.
yeah, so obviously tons and tons of speed. So when you start hitting above 150 feet, it's time to address the mechanics.
Even I don't hit it that high.
No.
Good answer. I don't think I have, Austin, actually. I'm very low key on the ice. Once in a while, I will get fired up, but no. I don't think that I have dropped the old gloves and ripped someone's helmet off. Certainly not in men's league, weekly recreational men's leisure hockey. That would be inappropriate. And embarrassing.
Thundermark 2 coming back with a little bit. Okay, we're pals again.
Oh,
We're pals.
all's
It's going
forgiven.
to be a good race in the Scottish Premier League this year. Matty Boy, Rangers and
Is it?
Celtic are tied at the top.
Is that when you talk about these teams? Is this literally just Scottish football? only?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep. Rangers have been in the doldrums for years
Really?
and years. Terrible.
How does that league compare to like the Premier League? Is it like a similar level of play?
I mean, there's so in the English Premier League, you've got 6 teams generally that are just unbelievable. You've got Man United, Man City, Liverpool, Tottenham, Arsenal, Chelsea. This year you've got Leicester, right? So you've probably got 7 teams that Rangers or Celtic are probably not going to beat.
Okay.
Certainly the top 3 or 4 they're not going to even come close to. Liverpool and Man City would wipe the floor with them. But when it comes to the rest of them, they'd be very competitive. So in Europe, both playing the European UEFA Cup. Both of them are getting great results. Have you heard of Lazio before? No? You heard of Lazio, Italian team? So decent team, really good team in Italy. Celtic beat them in the UEFA Cup last week. We drew with Portuguese team Porto in the Champions League. We beat Feyenoord a couple of weeks ago. So they're really up against some really good teams. They're doing well. So
Nice. They're trending.
couple of good teams. Rangers just slightly better.
I didn't realize it was like literally 2 Scottish teams.
Well, when we go, we have to go at a time year when we can go to a game.
Yeah. I've
Get
never
your
been
shirt
to. No, actually, I've never even been to a TFC game. I'm a little bit ashamed to tell you.
How was it the TFC first playoff game the other night?
I saw that.
Yeah, it was good.
Looked like a
Took
good
my
time.
little nephews. It was brilliant.
Did they like it? I think he just. Oh yeah. Okay. So why? Again, like they're both
Why do I
Scottish.
support them?
Why does it matter? Just does?
I mean, you kind of, you're born into it.
Okay.
So it comes
So
down
it's like,
to
are you a Leafs fan or a Montreal fan or whatever? NHL teams or football teams or whatever.
something like that.
You made your choice.
You're born into it.
I thought it was like an Irish team or something.
Well, now you're starting to get into some political agenda.
No agenda.
Yeah.
All right, one more question, and then it is time to jet.
Okay. Cool.
Brandon, if you see one, if not, maybe we'll end on a TXG soccer chat. Nah, that's just. We did good. We answered probably way more questions than we have in the past couple of weeks.
We have. Yeah, I like the quick fire kind of.
The rapid fire zone.
That was good, isn't it?
We're gonna have a new rapid fire segment about 10 minutes into every live. We'll just go poof.
Yep.
You probably shouldn't read that. That seems like it's a bit insulting to your
Daniel. Daniel, clearly an English.
Oh, okay.
Clearly, English people always have this big agenda against Rangers. The reality is that other than Man United and Liverpool, none of them come close to having the support the Rangers and Celtic have worldwide.
Fan base?
It's not even close.
Interesting.
We were down in Orlando, and my little nephews were looking at shirts and stuff like that, and we were asking, where there was couple of Celtic shirts. They were asking where the Rangers ones were in Orlando, and this it's like Pele Soccer Shop, and they were like they can never keep them in stock. They just like sell out
Really?
all the time. Rangers and Celtic fans are, but they're normally like everyone's like second team. So you might support.
You have a top team and then them.
Yeah, exactly. You'll have an alliance one with the other.
So funny.
Bleed blue, Brandon. Bleed blue.
I've literally never watched a soccer game start to
I
finish.
wanted to change that. All right, tap it
Good
out
live.
before we fall out with people.
Before we say something about some team that someone doesn't like. Lots of videos this week. We may do a live next week, but I'm not sure. But yeah, tons of videos this week. Video coming out tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Topic, surprise. Oh, do you want to make the Tiger one tomorrow and push the other one back? I didn't think about that.
Yeah. Is that okay?
I better get up early then. Make myself a little pick me up in the morning, triple espresso. Yeah, we can do that because it's very very topical right now. Very topical.
I think it's a good one.
Okay. All right. New video tomorrow before noon. We'll see you later.
Thank you for joining us, guys. That was great.